YouTube podcast world, man. What's good? You already know it's Page Plays podcast. I got a special guest. This guy, man. We didn't class pads throughout times, man. This guy here is alumni, same school as me, head coach. Well, you're gonna be head coach. We speaking that to existence. You're gonna be head coach. You know what I'm saying? My guy, Coach Webster. What's the deal, man? What's good with you, bro? I see you trying to do something with Thurston, bro. I see.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get us on the map, man. What's going on? How you doing?
Oh man, we living out here. Now let's talk, man. Because I hit you up after the madness, man. The first thing you said was put me on the motherfucking podcast, man. I was like, all right. I already know that means some shit. So we gonna do it the correct way. Let's talk about the AFC Championship game, man. I feel like Kansas City. I feel like, look, man, this is the best defense we've seen Mahomes have, bro. And like the crazy part about it is like they didn't even score a point in the second half, bro. And it's like you got head coach, you got Matt Nagy. He was an awful head coach, but a good coordinator. And you got Spagnuolo. So you got three head coaches, arguably. And, everyone talked about the Ravens played bully ball everybody, but I think that was the other way around that game. Lamar didn't even seem to be himself. And Mahomes, all he had to do was throw 3 yards and, kind of like the old Brady times. I throw the ball to you for 3 yards, you make the rest of the plays. And it worked. It worked. So.
Now with that AFC, man, I think. Well, first of all, I want to say if Pat Mahomes can win this Super Bowl, this would be the most impressive Super Bowl. He don't have a number one receiver at all. He winning so typically it's usually if you keep the Chiefs under 30 points, you can beat them. They scored 17 and they still winning.
Not 1 point in the second half, bro. That was the craziest part. And this should have been the one where I think they fumbled it no, they went for it on 4th and 1 and they didn't get it. And then ever since that, it was just, I think the play that got me was Flowers makes that hell of a catch and run and then does the taunting. That sends him back. Then he makes the next play. He makes the next big play and fucking fumbles. And at first, I'm like, this is a fucking touchdown. And then I see all the Chiefs players grab the ball. I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, he didn't pass the power line, and then they showed the replay slowly. And I'm like, this motherfucker dropped the ball.
He was short. But no, I feel like he was too emotional that game. Even though football is all emotion, he was too emotional. Because as a football player, man, you with that 1 yard line, tuck it. Just tuck it. Let's get in there. But he trying to be the guy. Which I don't know, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, hell of a rookie year for him because, I knew a little bit about him from Boston College, but I'm like,
I never heard of him.
Listen, man, I just stayed in different states, so I'd have been in ACC country. Look, people don't know. I know this is the outsider looking in, but as a North Carolina or Carolinas in general, shout out to that place. You got ACC, you got SEC, and then back in the day, you also had App State was the best team in Division II. So I watched a lot of ball. I watched with Clemson before they was even like Clemson, right? So the seeds they fight, and I know technically that's ACC. Like I heard of him. I saw a couple games when he made plays here and there, but I never thought he was a first round pick guy. And then obviously you see the draft and you're like, well, this guy probably who got drafted first? Jackson Smith. He probably should have got drafted first instead of him. But all is well, different schemes, different fits.
I was gonna say there's different schemes. I don't think he needed another big receiver.
Yeah, because Bateman is just, bro, he's injury prone. But my thing is, fuck all that. You pay OBJ $16 million this for 1 year, and what did I see? Like,
at this point, they just pay him to bring free agents, man.
Bro, it's real, bro. I feel like it's Super Bowl experience, but that's really a half, if we're gonna be honest with you. Like, I respect what OBJ does, but I'm like, bro, 16 mil.
I don't even notice him on the field. I'm looking like, is he playing or is he in action?
Yeah, bro. And and that's the thing about the Chiefs. No one, like, their secondary is very fucking like, I don't think no one talked about them all this year.
Legit. I like McDuffie, man.
Yeah, McDuffie was a good first round pick. And then what's the other guy? The other guy was the most underrated. I don't think no one even knew who this guy was. Is it Snead? Is that the second corner, I believe?
I'm not sure. I know they got Justin Reed there. He do what he do.
Oh yeah. So, but the thing though, too, I think is like Chris Jones is so dominant that you have like you got Carl Loftus, which I thought out of Purdue was solid. I thought he was a solid player for sure, but now he's making this guy look good. And then the guy that made that strip sack, unfortunately, he tore his ACL, but that was a hell of a play.
Tore his ACL that game?
He tore his ACL because I remember he didn't play after that fucking play, bro.
He sacrificed his body. That's football.
Yeah, you're right. It's always next man up, man. But yeah, Kansas City, man. I think you're right with the Super Bowl thing because of the fact that we talked about Mahomes' playoff game. He got 2 road playoff games.
Yeah.
He never had a playoff game on the road until this year. The first one is at Buffalo, where like if you ask me, like I wasn't a fan of them pushing the game back with Pittsburgh. I get it because the fans have to watch the game. But if you ask me, I think that Chiefs game against Miami was just as more. This fucking helmet, Mahomes' helmet crap. I mean, like when you see shit like that, and it was a night game. So I mean, it was like, I don't really know. I get it. I mean, we didn't see games where Lambeau is -3 degrees, motherfuckers still play. But,
Right.
it is what it is. I think the Chiefs, they look great. Now let's talk about the main game you really want to talk about. And before I let you get to going, I want to tell you what I thought before all of this shit down. So when I was watching the first half, I was at the crib, and I'm like, these motherfuckers is winning, bro. I'm like, these niggas is really about to go to the Super Bowl, bro. Like I am a Packer fan. I know people are like, how the fuck. Listen, I lived in another state, people. So like, it was a time where I wasn't even a fan of the fucking Lions, bro. Them niggas was ass. So that's just how it is. And the Packers put on a clinic on how you play against the Niners, bro. You got to run straight at them.
Ball.
And that was with Aaron Jones. It wasn't like you had. I don't even think AJ Dillon played that game. You had straight Montgomery and Gibbs. Montgomery to me was definitely the kettle back. I mean, every time he was up the middle was instantly 4 or 5 yards every play. And I was like, okay, they move in there. And St. Brown did a little bit of this. They did it. Laporta. I mean, it was a committee. And I'm like, wow, first half, I think, what was it, 23-7 or something like that? I'm like, is this about to happen? I go to my homie spot because he got like a little kickback and everything. One of my other homeboys was getting some Don Julio. So, he coming back. He didn't see all this shit we seen. And I saw the first 4th down. I'm like, why is this motherfucker going for it, bro? And that's like I told you, I feel like the mindset he was thinking was like, look, if I score a touchdown here, we up by 14, I can make this a 21-point game. And you know how it is at that point. That sets up a lot of things. It's the fact that, okay, we up by 21. And now, like, San Fran gonna have to throw the ball. I think also that was setting up with the defense. Like, all right, we know they're gonna have to be throwing the ball at this point. It ain't no running, which the Lions actually did pretty well stopping the run. They did amazing. And I think that's something the Chiefs can definitely expose. But I saw that go down. And I'm like, why the fuck did you do that? And Reynolds dropped both 4th downs, which was like very fucking crucial too. But like,
so at that point, was that bad play calling or bad execution?
It was definitely bad execution.
So was the play call?
I mean, bro, if I throw the ball right to you right there, that's you know what I'm saying? Like, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
And then the next couple plays, they go down the field like it ain't shit on them. So I'm like, shit. It went from a 14-point lead to 7. So I'm like, okay, they need to execute this next drive. The first play, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles. And my thing that gets me wrong is, why would you even have him running up the gut when you have Montgomery doing that all game? Gibbs is more, I'm gonna cut outside, I'm gonna go up the field. You choose to try to be cute, and that fucked you. So then it only take 4 or 5 plays. Well, that fucking catch, now that was some shit, because I know it was an interference call.
The deflection?
Yeah, that catch, I think that's what made him score that touchdown. I'm thinking, yeah, it would have been interference, and I don't know if it would have been a spot or foul or not. It probably would have been. But anyway, It's the fact that you have the damn ball in your hands, bro. The ball just knocks off your chest. And Ayuk just makes a crazy ass catch. Like I said, yeah, it would have been an interference and probably a spot on the ball. We're probably talking about maybe 5-6 yard line though. But Ayuk with the catch, he's at the fucking 1 yard line now. So it's even more like no leverage. And then, of course, the typical CMC up the gut touchdown. So I'm like, my homeboy just comes back. Bro, I ain't tying the fucking game up. I already know it. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
They tried to get on so quick, man.
And then they score. So this is the part where we're talking about I got +7s and 7.5. So I'm like, fuck. Now I'm kind of like on like panic water. These guys move the ball down the field and then go for it on 4th down. And that's when I'm really like, yo, why are you doing this? If you're down like San Francisco situation, I get why you go for 4th down because you're down. But it's at this point, you're down by 7. If you would kick the field goal, you're down by 4. And the one thing you did say that I think was very smart, they didn't kick a field goal before the 2-minute warning. And they had the ball before the 2-minute warning.
They had the ball. I think they got the ball with 3 minutes left. They got down. I think when the 2-minute warning came, they should have been like at the 30 or the 35.
Yeah, they was moving the ball down the field, and then they took a timeout.
You could have kicked and got the ball back with 3 timeouts.
See what I'm saying? You would have been down by 4, and then they scored a touchdown. So it's like, well, they thankfully they backdoor cover, but it's the fact that that touchdown could have been the fucking game-winning touchdown.
Right.
That's just my psychological mindset. I know, and with Dan Campbell, I get it. He's been gutsy all year. He go for it on 4th down when you about to get the ball back, just to make sure you get the ball back. And it's worked. I can't sit there and knock it. It's worked. But of course, when it goes bad, it goes fucking bad, bro.
It's bad to go. Nobody about the previous wins we had off doing that. They just care about right now.
Of course. So that's my whole thought about that. And I just didn't understand that, man. But I'm gonna let you have the floor on this one.
Well, as far as that game, man, I don't disagree with what Dan Campbell did. I mean, see, I'm a defensive coordinator myself. I'm an all or nothing guy, and that's what Dan Campbell is. He's an all or nothing guy. So he's been doing it all season. He showed us that's what he do. So why expect something else? You know what I'm saying? Right. But I think the game deciding point was that Gibbs fumble.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the side effect, man. Because after that happened, we got away from our game.
Yeah, I feel like my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did feel like it was panic mode at that point.
Yeah, it was panic, and then you can feel the momentum shift.
Yeah, that's why I feel like you should have had your kettle back with Montgomery, because I mean, the more experienced guy. And listen, I know Gibbs played for Alabama for 1 year, but I can tell you, I watched him when he was at Georgia Tech. That team was fucking awful. So it's different when you play in Alabama 2-3 years, and it's like, all right, we're playing NFL-like players, stuff like that. The momentum is a little different, but that's when you need Montgomery in there, who's been in the league for a minute, man. And the play was what? That was probably only get 2-3 yards away. He was running the ball towards the hole anyway. So that's why I was really lost. I think that's what got me.
Yeah, like I said, after that, I was lost the whole game after that. I'm like, why the hell are y'all doing that? So so they ran the ball. The Lions had 29 rush attempts.
Right.
24 of those came in the first half.
Okay.
And then after Gibbs fumbled, they ran the ball 2 times after that.
Yeah.
So you tell me in the first half, they rushed for 148 yards. San Francisco only rushed for 155 the whole game.
And I mean, most of that, let's be real, that first half, I think McCaffrey had maybe 25, 30 yards?
Yeah. Purdy ended with like 60. I mean, I know they probably ain't put that in the game plan, but still.
Yeah, that was some shit when he ran that little 40, 50-yard run. I was like, yo, I don't think nobody saw that coming.
Mark Jackson should have took some advice from Purdy, though, because going back to that AFC, I think Mark Jackson was just too instilled on being the passing quarterback this year.
Yeah.
Something different to the
and it's worked. That's the thing we can say. It worked. Like this MVP year and even that previous MVP year, the difference was that the passing was still legit elite, but that MVP first year, we're looking at, he broke Michael Vick rushing yard record too. You know, it was a lot of using his feet. We saw a lot of highlights really with his feet more than his passing, but his passing was legit.
That's a fact.
This year,
changed up his whole game.
you know, we've seen some games where he ran the rock, but like there was games where like I'll tell you, there's a lot of games I bet against him. I can tell you a perfect example. I picked the Colts plus 8.5 when they actually won outright. And I was more fucking in a nutshell thinking what if Gardner Minshew blows the game, but shit, you had DeForest Buckner. I mean, everywhere Lamar Jackson went, he was there. And he was actually trying to throw the ball more than run it. And that was my thing. And it was raining. It was a typical game when you got to run the ball more than throwing it. And he was just sitting there. Like, and then, you know, the rare thing you see and the rare thing we don't really see is I saw Justin Tucker miss a field goal.
Against the Colts?
Yes. Yes. And like I said, I know it was rainy Baltimore and it's windy, but like, we know this guy kicks the ball 65 yards and fucking like anything, bro.
I don't know. He did that against the Lions. What was it, 60-something?
Yeah, and I was in a dome. So, like, you know, and I can kind of give it props for that because it's a dome. But when it is raining, you know, the field condition is different. But, like, that seemed Lamar, he was fumbling the ball a lot of times this year, you know, as great as the passer he was. But, like, that game reminded me of that Chiefs game because it was just you keep him in the pocket. He's not doing the take off and run. And I think it was like what you said, he wanted to be a passer first, which
I think he was. I feel like he wasn't even looking to run. He was looking for the receiver.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes you gotta trust your instincts, man. Like the one player that I think is solid is like Justin Fields. But then he does knucklehead shit. You know, a lot of times he runs first and doesn't even look up the field and be like, there's somebody open. But I do think that like the later part of the year, he got better. You know, I'm one of those people. I've been one of the Justin Fields like believers. I don't think you trade him away, but I know it's a situation that now everyone's talking about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams this, Caleb Williams that, Caleb Williams this. And you know, that reminds me of Bryce Young last year, everyone was saying, and then look what happened. You know, what I will say the difference between the two is Caleb Williams had only Jerry Rice's son as like the receiver. I mean, Young had tight ends, receivers, running backs.
Whole lot.
And you know, it's a lot easier when you have 4 or 5-star talent, you know, around you. And now, you know, I think the problem with Bryce Young was he had no separation with receivers. Adam Thielen is a good number 3. I don't think he's a number 1.
They were trash.
You know. And now we look at it as I don't know if Ike Ekwonu is going to be a bust. Because I feel like as a left tackle, when I watched him all last year as a rookie, your first game was against Myles Garrett, which, by the way, this year he needs to be Defensive Player of the Year. You know, you played against tough competition and you played pretty solid with all these backups and different quarterback swaps. Now you get Bryce Young, and I do think the height is a little bit of a thing. You know, I'm not really, you know, bro, we're like fucking 5'10". But, like, you got to think, but a lineman is 6'6". You know, and he's not fast. It ain't like he Kyler Murray speed where he can go east and west and look around. I don't know. You know, I do like the hire that they did with the Bucs offensive coordinator because we saw what Baker can do. But, you know, now you're fucked with the number 1 pick. So if you're the Bears now, look, you got DJ, we got a number 1 receiver, you got picks. I mean, I don't think you get rid of Justin Fields.
No, I'm gonna keep build around him. See, the whole thing is to get a franchise quarterback.
And it's not always easy.
Don't turn out to a franchise quarterback in 2-3 years. They ready to give up on him.
I mean, yeah. And then like you have to look at your location.
It takes for a quarterback to actually become himself in the NFL.
How long?
See, the CJ Stroud and the Pat Mahomes messing it up. They think everybody can just come in.
Well, Pat Mahomes' situation was actually the old school way. You sit back for a year or two.
Yeah.
And Stroud, I mean, like, honestly, I was saying CJ Stroud was better than Bryce Young. Like, I think that game against Georgia, that was the game where, like, because, you know, we saw him against Michigan. And hell, even you can talk about Oregon his freshman year. The guy didn't run when he needed to run away. Georgia, you had no choice, bro. You got You know, all those elite linemen that's top 5, top 10 picks. Jalen Carter, for instance, running at you. You better run. And I think that's what made me say, okay, this guy could possibly be the #1 overall pick. But, you know, me living in the Carolinas and knowing how Tepper went in his way. So he wanted, fuck it. We want Bryce Young. And now you're looking like, we make a draft CJ Stroud. No, you wanted Bryce Young because you was talking about Bryce Young the minute you got that first pick.
Yep.
If I know you are available and I want you, I pretty much already make saying like, look, I want Will on my team. This is the first pick. Now it's up to you to, you know, come in as the player and, you know, and bring the expectations. But I think because what you said, the expectations is why so much quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, he came in off rip. I mean, I don't think he was ready, bro. I think maybe if you give him maybe another year, I think maybe he'll be solid. But you throw him on fire and you give him no players. You give him no offensive line because look what happened to Aaron Rodgers. You give him no line. What the fuck can you do? And then your best player is Garrett Wilson, which I respect, but he was a rookie. Which, I mean, he had the yards, but I'm saying it's not a lot of people that can do that. You know, you're gonna have if I'm starting a franchise, I'm maybe doing it a different way. I'm probably starting defense. I'm starting with an interior line, pass rush linebacker. Offense, I'm going O-line. If I see a quarterback that's like in the drive where I'm like, okay, like this year, I don't know why no one's talking about Michael Penix still. Like, he should be a first-round pick. Is it because he's a left-hand quarterback too? And you know how people look at that? Like, you know, that's somebody like if I saw him in the second round or like the end of the first round, bro, I'm trading back in and getting him. So you talking about I could possibly get an O-line and a quarterback, a top-tier O-line and a quarterback. Then you can get your pass rushers, you can get your linebackers, you can get another, you know what I'm saying? It's just people don't know how to build off that. And I know the names, the people like sexy names. And the one thing I will give the thing about the Lions, they drafted guards in the first round where you like, why are we drafting guards? But look what happened.
Thinking that 3 years ago.
You know, I thought Penei Sewell, I thought was a great fit for the Lions. And I thought personally he should have went to Cincinnati because look what the Bengals are still struggling with.
O-line.
You still got Jamar Chase, and I get it, but look what happened to Burrow. 2 years now, we're talking about injuries.
Well, even though they went to the Super Bowl without an O-line.
And they lost because of an O-line because Aaron Donald made that play. That is how they lost that game. Oh. You know, like it's just little things like that, man. It's just that shit drags, you know. And while we might as well get to this real quick, who you got with Super Bowl? I see Kansas City is +1.5. You giving me an underdog with Chiefs.
I can't go. I bet against Pat Mahomes the last 2 weeks, man.
I don't know why you did.
I don't either. I'm not doing it again.
Like at this point,
I thought the Bills would beat them because the Bills had the hot hand.
And the crazy part is, though, it's like I agree. Both the Bills and the Ravens have better teams.
That's another reason why. Like I said, the Chiefs in the regular season they wasn't a good team to me.
Honestly, I feel like if you take them out, if you take Mahomes off the Chiefs, we're probably talking about a 3-win team. I'll probably say luckily to be a 3-win team.
Just because of the defense.
Okay, we can respect that. But this is the fact, man. Like that quarterback just elites everybody. And it's like, wow. To me, it's like, look, last year's Super Bowl, when I saw Chiefs as an underdog, I was like, no way. I didn't just score like 300 on that. Like, no way. Let's go ahead. Now, I didn't expect that crazy ass roll course. And they were down by 10 in the Super Bowl and came back. I mean, it's like, and that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, and now you're facing Kyle Shanahan, which I'm gonna say Kyle Shanahan doesn't win big games. Yeah, he won a big game against the Lions, but we knew Dan Campbell even admitted he fucked up. You know, we're talking divisional round with the Packers, where they were 10-point dogs. I mean, look, I know I'm a Packers fan, but I knew that game wasn't gonna be like that. And if it wasn't a missed field goal, we're probably talking probably Packers Lions, right? In the NFC Championship game. So I like I said, man, you can run on this team. I seen Pacheco. I think with him back being healthy, that's why this team's also flowing, bro.
Oh yeah, that's their backbone pretty much, man. Because if Mahomes can't get it clicking, let's hand it over. Let's get 4-5 yards.
And the crazy thing with Mahomes is even then when Mahomes, I remember that play, it was one of those plays against Baltimore, bro. When he was just sitting there, bro. And I'm like, bro, are you gonna fucking run or pass or what? And I see a whole DN from behind. And it's almost, I feel like he just looked, he didn't even look. He just fucking ran. It's like he just had the instincts to know that.
Yeah, Mahomes got eyes on the side of his head and the back of his head.
Man.
I don't know how he be doing it.
Yeah, I've seen something that said the over under for his Super Bowl wins will be 4.5. I think he goes over.
He had 2 right now or 3?
He had 2. He wins this one, he's 3. He's had 4 Super Bowls, I believe, right? He's had 4.
I don't think he's well, that all depends. My thing is Travis Kelce, that's his best friend.
Yeah.
He got Taylor Swift, man. He ready to.
You know, the thing I will say, and the reason why I look at Mahomes like Brady, he's doing the same thing Brady actually did. Well, and I'm gonna backtrack to that. I remember when he got that 10-year, $500 million contract, but it was like $300-something million guaranteed. The following year, after they got rid of Tyreek, what did he do? He restructured his contract, and that's what I think he's been doing. So even if Kelce leaves, bro, they're like another 2 players away from being back to where they were. They're maybe getting a #1 receiver this offseason. I'm possibly projecting maybe T. Higgins. You know, there's a lot. That's just a name. That's just somebody to name. But like, this defense is still legit. They drive pretty good. I mean,
good as hell. That's why they was able to afford to get rid of Tyreek Hill.
And they're not even like top 5 picks. They're like number 30, 64, 85. You're like, bro, who is this person? I think Chris Jones, who's about to get a bag, they definitely need to be paying him this offseason. I think he was a 4th-round pick. So that just goes to tell you about, like, you know, to any of the kids out there, it don't matter if you're a 2-star, 3-star, bro, just work your ass off, man. You'll get there, man.
Work and you can play, they're gonna find it.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something in your field. So there's NIL in high school sports now in the state of Michigan?
NIL in high school in Michigan, yes, sir.
So how would that, I know the college part, but how would that, do you know how that?
I'm not familiar with it yet, but I'm pretty sure it'd be the same as college, man. They trying to just get the top athletes here. Now the thing I was worried about is the kids from out of state. Now they about to be attracted to come to Michigan just to get that bag.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. Like
especially, you know, Toledo, you're like 45 minutes away from the city. So
Ohio, hey, we about to go right up to Michigan, get that bag.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how that works though.
Yeah, I kind of figured that because story. It was a chick I was messing with, bro. She a coach too in our own high school thing, and she's actually in Georgia now. And I know Georgia now is NIL in high school, so that's why I always wonder. I think it might be the sponsors from like the schools. I'm assuming
something like that.
Yeah, because I know like the catch with Oregon, we know is the NIL money comes in because look who's part of Oregon, it's Nike. So that's why a lot of those times they could just pay you off and come over to the school. Obviously, I'm sure Michigan with the boosters, but you know, Jordan Brand, all that too. So a lot of that stuff is attractive. But I always wonder that because you know, you look at some of the DPS schools, you look at like Cass Tech. We know that's like the Mecca, and King, that's like the Mecca of like DPS schools. You know, they're getting. I remember Cass Tech was on a Adidas commercial a couple years ago. You know, just a little quick snippet. So it's just the fact that now, like, you know, you seeing like this stuff advertised and marketed, and now it's like, well, listen, we know, you know, you can be a good guy. We can sign you here for this. You know, especially some of these. For instance, I look at with USC with Bronny. I'm not going to hate, and I respect that he came back after a cardiac arrest 6 months later and plays ball. I don't think he's good right now. But, you know, he got that Beats money. Look, he got that Nike money. I can't say shit. You know, it's that. And also, I also feel like with that being said, you know, it's easy. He could possibly get his own shoe with Nike because now we know, okay, this is the next generation of LeBron. We could get, you know, and also you got to look at them a lot of these schools too. If you're a generation type basketball player, you're with Adidas, we can make you a shoe already. So when you go to the league, you already still have that money. And that's how I do kind of look at it. Kind of like the Sanders. Look what they're doing in Buffalo. Well, Colorado Buffaloes. Look what they're doing. I mean, bro, they're on commercials. They're still promoting the Amazon. I mean, all of that. And that's all NIL money. And now that Nike is back with especially with the diamond turfs and all of that, and the way that Dion's freaking it out, it's like, bro, like, yeah, man, I know it's about to get crazy. That's why I'm not a fan of I'm supporting. Get your money. I'm not a hater on that. But now when you leaving from, let's say, Colorado to UNLV, then you leave UNLV, go to Texas. Now I'm like, all right, like what's really up with that?
The coach, that's a red flag. That's a red flag as a coach. If you enter the transfer portal too many times, why can't you go home? Is it you?
Yeah. Like DJ Ugalele. You went from Clemson to Oregon State. Now, we know Oregon State's situation now is very weird now that it's only going to be 2 teams in their conference. But now you're going to Florida State. And I think that that kind of did make sense. And then the coach did lead to go to Michigan State. So I think that kind of does make some sense. When coaches retire, you look how many Alabama players left. Some Michigan players did leave, but I think with Moore staying there, I think most of those players still stay. And then you know what? I don't think Michigan will lose a beat because look what Harbaugh did with Stanford. Eric Shaw came in after him, and they still were good for 10 years. So
yeah, I think it's good because it's not like Harbaugh. He missed how many games? He missed a few games, and he already as the head coach, you in the culture and the system. If you go, that system and that culture still can be there. Especially they hired Moore that was right underneath. He know what Harbaugh. He already know the system. He know everything. He know how to put everything in place. So it shouldn't miss a beat. And then we got so many returning players on defense. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think the offense is. I mean, he's an offensive guy, if I'm not mistaken. I think the offense would be. I mean, you got Donovan Edwards, right? So you still have him. But now we have to know about the quarterback, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into transfer portal and gets somebody. I thought Cam Ward would have been perfect, but Cam Ward said, fuck all of this. I'm going to the league instead. After Ohio State got Will Howard, and I think you said what?
He played for Washington State, right?
Yeah. And I think the Will Howard transfer from Ohio State was kind of like head scratching. I mean, I saw him at Kansas State. He was okay, but I don't know, bro. But they got a lot of good fucking skill positions on. All them Alabama players that left and went there. I will say Ryan Day is supposed to have probably a hell of a year next year. I will say that though. But it's a whole new game now. Like it doesn't matter. He can lose to Michigan the next 5 fucking years, but guess what? As long as you're the top 12, you're in the playoffs. So it don't even matter no more.
You're right.
You gotta look at like the NCAA tournament, bro. If we're in a small conference and I'm Gonzaga and you finally beat me, I'm still an at-large team, so it doesn't fucking matter to me because I'm already in the fucking tournament still. Right. So I mean, now when this comes to SEC, I think that's going to be interesting. I mean, we get to see. I mean, we get to see. That's probably going to be Big Ten. I'm going to be interested in, but I want to see SEC. You get to see Texas going to Gainesville, or Oklahoma against out. That's something that I'm like really looking forward to. Like I was just ready for this year to fucking end, so we can get the fuck over with and let's start with that. And but when it comes to this, man, it doesn't even grind. The grind don't stop because now I got to worry about college basketball after Super Bowl. And I'm doing college basketball now, and it's a fucking battle.
Oh, you do all sports?
I do a little bit of everything, man. So I feel like college football and NFL is like the bread and butter.
Yeah.
But, I do college basketball because I do think man, college basketball, you see how crazy this shit is, man. When Purdue lost to FDU, I got something you're gonna look more crazy about. I was there when that shit happened.
Where was it? Did they play at Purdue?
They played at it was at where the Columbus, like the Blue Jackets, the NHL team, that's where they had the first round at. So you had Michigan State and the USC. It was Vermont and Marquette. FDU, and Purdue. But the main reason I wanted to go there because they had Memphis and FAU. And I wanted to see how that game was. And that game went down to the fucking wire. So I got my money's worth for about $200 overall. And guys, this is why it's called. You can flip this shit, man. They go by sessions. I didn't know that, so they go by the first 2 games first, and then they got to kick you out for like an hour just to clean up, and then it's a second session. My dumb ass fucking bought 2 first session tickets, didn't even realize the shit till I got to the gate, and I'm like, bro, I don't have the right ticket. And ironic enough, it was like 5 like family members there, and it was somebody like scanning their tickets. And he looked at me and nodded, and I just fucking walked straight through back to where I was at. So I didn't pay the last part because, well, I was actually sitting there playing around. I think I ended up going up to the nosebleeds.
You got about separate tickets, different sessions?
So yeah, so they go by sessions. So it's kind of crazy, and this is for people who don't even know how the college thing goes. So they go by sessions. So like if it's 4 games in the first round, you have to buy. So they go by 2 games per session. So you got to buy a first round session, a first session, and a second session. And that's also if you're doing conference tournament stuff too. So all of that goes by like the sessions, man. And it depends. Like I said, I randomly bought the ticket. I didn't even know who the fuck was going to be there until fucking Selection Sunday. But like, yeah, man, I usually try to get into college basketball because I'm into Big East basketball, man. Let me tell you, Big East basketball is not for the weak. Like you got Seton Hall, where like the guy from St. Peter's coach Callaway, he's an alumni, and like, bro, they're beating UConn, and UConn you look at, they're like the #1 team.
Big East plays the sleeper with basketball, man.
Big East has always been a league of basketball, bro. It's just been awful with football because you got to think you had Miami there and everybody was trash, bro. But it's hey, and now look, they moved to the ACC and they're getting their fucking ass beat. Like a lot of these kids won't know about Nebraska and they won't know about Miami being powerhouses in the 80s and 90s and 2000s no more, man. Like.
And it's gonna get back for schools like Nebraska and Iowa, unless that NIL talk.
And the thing about Nebraska is though the reason why they're so relevant, people still wonder why, is because they got like boosters, bro, and it still lingers from the 80s and 90s. But like, times changed, man. Like I said, like people are forgetting about Miami and like Nebraska. It's a shame, but yet again, there's no real traditional. Like the Big 12 now is all everywhere. Like. I could be playing at fucking Colorado. Now I gotta go to Cincinnati. It's all over. Like I get it when there's certain demographics that add up, but like at this point, man, I don't really know, man. But what I'm going to do, I'm about to wrap this up. I got like a minute left. I'm looking at my guy. Go ahead. Whatever shout outs you have, anything to introduce yourself to this world, man. I'm gonna let you have the floor, bro.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you for having me, man. If y'all don't know, I'm Coach Webb, Thurston alumni. I'm an assistant head coach and the defensive coordinator. Also a Fair State alumni, played linebacker for Fair State. I heard you say you live in Carolinas now?
I did. I'm back in Michigan now, but I did. So
in Carolinas for a minute as well.
And the crazy part about that's actually how I learned how to play football, was in the Carolinas, bro. Yeah, like people don't know that. That's actually how I learned it. So
I had from Ferris, I transferred to Coastal Carolina. So I'm a Carolina.
Bro, if it was a couple years now, bro, division, everyone know who the fuck you are by that.
Yeah, I mean the game's so different now. It's crazy. I wish I would have 6 years later. I promise.
I swear to God, bro. Hey man, shit. Because now everyone's little.
You said what?
Now everybody little, bro. Now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my little self, bro, I could be at least a fucking center. At 5'11", still fucking play,
For real.
But yeah, man, Coach, man, it was good seeing you, man. I appreciate you being on here. Hey, I wouldn't mind you can come on here anytime you want, my guy.
Big time. Who you got for Super Bowl?
Kansas City. Self-explanatory. Give me all that shit.
Like the under.
Yes, sir. But that's all. Shout out to Coach Webb. I know the video just kind of stopped like that at the end, but we were already wrapping it up. Shout out to Coach, man. I will leave his link in the description for Instagram. Follow all that. As always, like the content, subscribe, pass the word around. This only goes up, man, because this might be a normal thing with just random conversations, but we'll also be talking about some money as well. You guys stay safe out here and let's get this money.